made the finals during the final game of qualifying. But among those standing in his way, Doug Kent, who looks more like Clark Kent, but often bowls like Superman. You may remember his win at the Japan Cup. And you may remember Ricky Ward, who was a finalist on our telecast just a week ago. He considers himself a young, seasoned veteran and says he expects 1998 to be his year. And almost every year is a good year for Dennis Butch Soper, who's been a consistent winner on tour since 1972. Who will win today's Albuquerque Open? The best bowlers in the world have been greeted with great enthusiasm here in Albuquerque this week. And today they'll be cheering for our 5 finalists, but especially for a favorite son. Our 5th seed today, Albuquerque's own Gary Skidmore, who's made the show in his first tournament since getting his card back last year. In our opening round, he'll meet Mike Scroggins from nearby Amarillo, Texas. Nearly his whole family is on hand today. Our 3rd seed is 10-year veteran Doug Kent, who was solid all week long. Ricky Ward has been the most consistent bowler so far in 1998. He's our number 2 seed. And our top seed today, the veteran who was virtually unbeatable all week, Dennis Butch Soper. And hello again, everybody. I'm Mike Bush, and welcome to Albuquerque. As I mentioned, we've got an enthusiastic crowd. You know, they've been having regional events here in Albuquerque for the past 26 years, but this is the first time they've had a national tour stop, and we've been greeted with some great Southwestern hospitality. Alongside is my partner, the PBA Hall of Famer Marshall Holman. And Marshall, we have an interesting contrast in our finals today. We've got one guy who's been off the tour for 8 years and has made the show, and another guy who's been on tour virtually nonstop for the past 26 years.
Well, you're absolutely right, Mike. We've got a very interesting telecast for you tonight. Our first player, Gary Skidmore from Albuquerque, New Mexico, the hometown guy, hasn't bowled a tournament since 1990. Been practicing about 60, 70 games a week the last 4 weeks. He can't believe he's here, but he's going to have the home crowd rooting him on, and he knows how to win. He's a 6-time PBA champion. The other story is that of Butch Soper, the 26-year veteran. Butch Soper had a great year in 1996, making almost $100,000. Last year, he struggled a little bit. He's looking to resurge himself as a dominant player here in 1998. He's your leader. Let's look for him to do big things today.
All right, Marshall, thank you. And we're set to begin our opening round match between the hometown kid in the green shirt, Gary Skidmore, who owns the bowling center just across the street from here, and Mike Scroggins, who began bowling at the age of 13 just because his dad said he looked too bored at home. That's the way the Albuquerque Open begins, with the Albuquerque kid, Gary Skidmore, a strike in the first frame.
Gary Skidmore, look at this shot. Look how far he projects the ball out of the lane. That's his M.O. And look at the nice, friendly hometown break for Gary Skidmore.
Mike Scroggins from Amarillo, Texas. And he begins with a strike.
Not quite as enthusiastic a reaction from the crowd, and it's a tough situation for Mike Scroggins, who's really a nice young man, but right now they want to see Gary Skidmore throwing the strikes.
I mentioned he started bowling, Mike did, at the age of 13 because his dad was tired of the boys, and he has a twin brother, Mark, who was the Rookie of the Year on the PBA Tour in 1993. They were just sitting around doing nothing, so Dad signed them up for a league. They didn't like it, didn't want to go back the second week. Dad made them, and they've been bowling ever since.
For an early double, he gets that light shaker, and there's a smile, a little bit of a fist in the air from Mike Scroggins.
Almost every bowler that we talked to this week loves the way this crowd reacts to stuff like that.
Take a look at that light shaker hit. With these powerful balls, the light hit is very friendly. Gary Skidmore needs to strike to keep pace here in the second frame.
On lane 24.
And he does exactly the same thing that Mike Scroggins does. He hits a little bit light, shakes those pins around. We'll take a look. Watch the projection right here. Look, he lofts that ball a good 8 to 10 feet out of the lane. Makes its move at about 45, 50 feet. Just enough hook to mix up the pins.
What a great story Gary Skidmore is. He's been bowling about 20 games a day for the last 4 weeks just to get ready for this tournament. Remember, he's been off the tour since 1990. He told me he just lost his drive. I think he's got it back.
Well, once again coming in high, and Gary motioned with his arm as if he elbowed that ball a little bit. That will cause the ball to hook early. I know. We take a look, you can see the ball cutting through the heart. Very fortunate to knock down the split. Gary Skidmore, a good spare shooter, should have no problem making this spare. He'll be 2 pins down after 3 frames with the conversion. The right-hander said both the lanes play about the same. The left-hander said the right lane hooks more for them. And we'll see how that plays out as he continues. And there's Gary's wife, Eve.
And so Mike Scroggins up in the 3rd frame. Gary Skidmore coming off the spare. Scroggins working on a double here in the opening round match in Albuquerque.
Opportunity to take an early 12-pin lead. Will it hook back? Oh, lovely shot from Mike Scroggins.
He was very consistent all week long.
We take a look at a picture-perfect shot from Mike Scroggins. He gets the ball down a lot earlier than Gary. Watch how it makes a nice smooth transition. Well, take my word for it. Those pins are gone.
He actually did not expect to be in the finals this week. In fact, he was entered in a regional tournament in El Paso, Texas. Well, he's going to be a little busy. He won't be able to make it.
No, he certainly won't. That's got to really hook. Well, comes in a little bit light.
Leaves the 7-pin. So a 9 in the 4th frame for Mike Scroggins.
We take a look once again at Mike Scroggins. Got almost like a rubbery arm swing. Very, very loose, which is really translates into good carry in the back end, although not in the 4th frame. He switches balls hard and straight. And he slips that ball into the left channel.
And so Mike Scroggins has an open frame here in the 4th. Gary Skidmore is up next when we come back.
My mind is less fuzzy.
Here's what real people think about ginkgo.
Ginkgo has given me a sharpness and an alertness that I didn't have before.
I felt a remarkable difference.
Talked to my doctor about ginkgo. He said, take it, it will help your memory.
Clinical evidence shows the natural supplement ginkgo safely increases the flow of oxygen to the brain, sharpening concentration, mental focus, even helping to improve your memory.
Ginkgo has helped me to think better. I think ginkgo has helped clear my mind. It's just cleared the cobwebs out.
Think better. Think ginkgo.
These days, we could all use more endurance. Say about 24 hours worth. I know I could. And now I've got it. Because now the Odor Fighter's a new high-endurance deodorant lasts even longer. New high-endurance lasts a full 24 hours. No one else is this strong, this long. Plus, it's got this new Pure Sports scent. So now you can smell better, longer. Guaranteed. Or call 1-800-PROVE-IT and Old Spice will buy you a stick of yours. Hey, no matter what you're into, now you've got all the endurance you need. A full 24 hours. Guaranteed.
The Pro Bowlers Tour on ESPN is brought to you by Ginkgo. Sharpen your concentration with Ginkgo, the natural supplement. Think better. Think Ginkgo.
Right.
Welcome back to the Albuquerque Open. Leisure lanes, Gary Skidmore. +1, and he's up in the 4th frame on lane 24.
Gary, the recipient of that break when Mike Scroggins could not convert the 7-pin. Coming out of commercial, let's see how he reacts, and reacts very well. Keeps that 1-pin lead, and that we'll take a look at this shot once again. Look at the pin action. 6-pin does the damage on the 10. Always important to take advantage. If your opposition does something a little bit not so smart, you've got to jump all over that. You just don't have that many opportunities. These 10 frames go by so fast.
Well, he jumped on an opportunity last night, making up 102 pins just to make the TV finals. And Gary Skidmore with a strike in the 5th, and now an 11-pin lead.
Gary Skidmore. Skidmore's a fiery player. I remember bowling against him in 1984, and he needed a strike to shut me out. Not only did he run it out, but he got right up in my face as if to say, Marshall, you're done for this week. Well, and he was right.
Mike Scroggins is not done. He strikes in the 5th. Mike's wife, Melanie, on hand with their baby son. Mike Scroggins, I mentioned that his twin brother Mark is a fine bowler, the Rookie of the Year back in 1993.
Yeah, many people think that Mark is actually the better player of the two. I believe last year in the Southwest region, Mark Scroggins was the player of the year and Mike was the runner-up. So they're both very good.
And he strikes in the 6th.
Well, he's put that 7-pin miss in the 4th frame behind him. Right now, Gary Skidmore up by 1 pin. So very, very close.
Skidmore's lead down to just 1 pin. But he certainly has the crowd on his side. The Albuquerque kid, Gary Skidmore, 43 years old. And another strike.
And Gary Skidmore, his bowling goals, not to embarrass myself this week and try to make a check. Well, Gary, you're not embarrassing yourself at all as we take another look at this form that we're going to be seeing a lot of. Good projection, 10 in the pit. You know he wants it. You throw the ball, and then all you can do is just sort of hope that it got off your hand properly and that you'll carry all the pins, because that could have easily been a solid 10 pin.
He told me he really got burned out on tour after all those years, and he actually dropped his membership to the PBA. But he got his card back last year. As you can see, very excited with his 4th straight strike in the 7th frame. He's up by 21 pins. Mike Scroggins will try to make up the deficit when we come back to Albuquerque.
Pay-per-view brings you face-to-face with excitement.
Isn't this fun?
Travolta.
I don't care if I live.
Cage.
You're not having any fun, are you, Sean?
The only way to catch this killer is to become him.
You get licking.
White-knuckle action.
What do you say we trade back?
An absolute blast.
Plan B. Let's just kill each other.
There's no resisting face-off. Exciting entertainment is easy to order on pay-per-view.
If you've been dreaming of a new TV, furniture, or appliances, but thought you couldn't afford it, maybe what you really need is Magic. Magic Video and Rent to Own, where you can rent to own furniture, appliances, TVs, VCRs, stereos, computers, and more. Plus, with Magic's easy approval and easy weekly or monthly payments, you can enjoy it now. So no matter what you're dreaming about, even if you just want to run a movie, call or come into Magic Video and Rent to Own, Columbia Avenue, Lancaster, or on Locust Street, Columbia.
Back in Albuquerque, the opening round of the Albuquerque Open. Don't forget, by the way, you can access all the latest information about the PBA Tour
on the internet.
Check out the PBA's new website address, www.pbatour.com. The site, which is sponsored by Brunswick, features the latest tournament standings, stories, stats, and coming soon, live chat with the pros. PBA on the net, www.pbatour.com. And so Mike Scroggins has 21 pins to make up, coming to the 7th frame in our opening round match.
Sort of a punch and a counter punch kind of a game right now, Mike. Mike Scroggins, very important that he stays in touch with Gary Skidmore by striking here in the 7th frame.
A winner in Sacramento back in 1992. And he likes that. Mike Scroggins with a smile on his face as he strikes in the 7th. Scroggins, by the way, is a big baseball card collector.
There are quite a few guys out here that really enjoy baseball cards and the rotisserie baseball leagues. They do that out here on the road. And there really is so much time, and you really need to have a hobby out here. So a lot of guys spend their time buying and selling baseball players in rotisserie baseball.
Scroggins in the 8th. And couldn't quite trip up the 7-pin.
And virtually the same shot he left in the 4th frame. We'll take a look at this shot coming from right at you. Makes a good shot. Comes in just a little bit light in the pocket. Here comes the messenger, but it gets rerouted up to the front. Now, this is the same shot he missed earlier. No problem making the 7-pin as he gives himself a round of applause as if to say, see, I'm not a bad spare shooter.
That's his mom, Kay, and his dad, Eddie. His mom very excited to be here. She is just recovering from breast cancer surgery and looking forward to cheering Mike on to a victory. But Gary Skidmore will have something to say about that. Skidmore in the 8th, up by 12.
Really has things going his way right now. As Gary Skidmore points toward lane 23, when Mike Scroggins made that 7-pin, it actually bounced back out into the field of play. That'll have to be removed.
There is a pin in the channel on lane 23.
There we go. Let's get that little baby out of there just a little farther.
And what is that apparatus?
That's a pin getter outer, I believe. I don't want to get too technical with you, Mike, but, you know, that's what it is.
A pin getter outer.
Gary Skidmore right now with the opportunity to shoot 278 if he takes it all the way out. If he strikes this next shot, he'll be working on a 250 pace. The best Mike Scroggins can do is 246. Big shot, 9th frame.
And another strike for Gary Skidmore.
And you'll notice with Gary Skidmore, when he finds himself in a pressure situation, he gets faster and more direct. This ball is on a line right into the pocket.
6 in a row now for Skidmore. And Scroggins down by 32 in the 9th. And he's not giving up.
No, he's not laying down, but it's going to be very difficult. Right now, Mike Scroggins, he really must strike out. That would force Gary Skidmore to mark in the 10th frame. If he does not strike out, then Gary Skidmore is going to have a very easy path to our second match.
Mike told me that he loves the game of golf and says if he was good enough, he'd love to be a pro golfer. But he's better at bowling, apparently.
Yeah, he certainly is.
And he leaves 1 pin up in the 10th frame, the 6th pin. And so Scroggins will try to get the spare to close out the 10th frame.
Yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for Mike Scroggins. Right now, Gary Skidmore has nothing to do but just get up in the 10th frame and keep his momentum going. You know, it's rather interesting. Gary's wife told him at the beginning of the week that she thought he was going to win the tournament. I'm sure that Gary looked at her and laughed at her, but maybe she knew something. Eve, you're a little kind of a soothsayer.
And so a great week by Mike Scroggins. Leaves the open frame in the 10th, finishes with a 222. And Gary Skidmore now in the 10th frame, trying to close out strong.
Well, the people here in Albuquerque very happy to see Gary Skidmore as he advances into our next match.
He's 5, and he got more than 5. The strike.
As he looked back at me and he put his hands out and said, look, Marshall, I've got about 7 boards to play with out here. I can't miss.
7 in a row now for Skidmore. And he'll try to strike out here in the 10th frame.
Well, it's not going to get any easier. He's going to be taking on the extraordinarily talented Doug Kent.
Gary Skidmore with yet another strike.
One more for 278, and for someone who hasn't bowled on national television for many, many years, or for that matter, bowled in a PBA national event since 1990, it's amazing what the memory can do for you. He remembers bowling good on television. He's a 6-time champion, and he's using those good thoughts to draw on today.
And so Gary Skidmore finishes with a 278, beating Mike Scroggins 222, and Gary Skidmore will advance to our second round match against the 10-year veteran Doug Kent. You can see Gary Skidmore had a spare in the 3rd, but the rest were strikes, and he'll try to keep it going against Doug Kent. And our second round match is coming up.
The PBA presents How to Bowl Like the Pros. Step 1, practice precise footwork. Step 2, maintain proper bowling posture. Step 3, always follow through. And remember, keep your composure. For more tips on how to bowl like the pros, watch the PBA Tour on ESPN.
Oh, no. Not an offer for another credit card.
We've never gotten one like this.
What is it, made of gold?
Better. This one's a First USA Platinum Visa card.
Uh-huh, at a platinum price. I mean, how much are they talking about? $300, $400 a year just for the privilege?
It's free. No annual fee.
Well, what kind of interest?
Fixed introductory rate is 4.9% APR. Oh, that's the lowest I remember seeing. Maybe we should switch.
To apply for your First USA Platinum Visa card, call this number now. You don't have to be wealthy, just responsible. Having one is a credit to the way you manage your finances, so don't wait. Apply by phone today. Save now and save when the rate goes to a still low fixed 12.99% APR.
Imagine, us with a First USA Platinum Visa card. We deserve it.
They're giving us credit for our good credit.
How about some credit for my good idea?
With 3 shows a day, it can get a little stressful around here. Luckily, we've got a guy who lightens things up a bit. I like to think of him as our Sports Center doctor. When Kenny and I return on Sports Center, we will take a closer look at... After all, laughter is the best medicine.
You're looking at the Sandia Mountains surrounding the beautiful city of Albuquerque, New Mexico, where Gary Skidmore has advanced to the second round of the Albuquerque Open, and he'll meet 10-year veteran Doug Kent. Don't forget, tonight on ESPN, exciting hockey action from the pond in Anaheim. The Blackhawks, led by 3-time Norris Trophy winner Chris Chelios, and they've gotten strong goaltending from Jeff Hackett, who has 5 shutouts this season, and they'll meet the Anaheim Mighty Ducks, who counter with a strong 1-2 punch of Teemu Selanne and Paul Kariya. It's exciting hockey action, the Blackhawks and Ducks, tonight on ESPN. Mike Scroggins ran into a buzzsaw, and he is with Marshall Holman.
Well, thank you very much, Mike. And Mike, you really did. You ran into a tough opposition. When you left the 7th pin in the 4th frame, you missed it. What did you make it feel like?
Well, what the deal was, the lanes are a little tighter today, and during the week, they were hooking at the 7th pin, and today I just didn't think about it being tighter, and it just slid off to the left.
Well, you made a nice comeback, and it really was a matter of not you performing, not performing, but Gary Skidmore shooting .278 just blew you right out of the doors.
Yeah, it's hard to beat a hometown favorite with the crowd behind him, but, you know, hopefully I can make another show one of these days.
Well, I'm sure you were. Congratulations, and back to you, Mike.
All right, Marshall. Mike, thank you very much. Doug Kent now set to begin our second round match. Doug, 6'2", 185-pound, 30-year-old. Won the 1991 ABC Masters. And how will his match begin? With a strike in the first frame for Doug Kent from Canandaigua, New York.
Doug Kent, one of the dominant players, should be one of the dominant players because of the amount of talent that he has, Mike. He's an exceptionally gifted player, very, very strong. He can play all the lines. Here comes hometown Gary Skidmore right here in Albuquerque.
He can't miss. Gary Skidmore opens with a strike.
And not only does he have a good line to the pocket, but if his ball hits a little heavy, it strikes. If it hits a little light, it strikes. If it hits all in the pocket. Right now, it's just nothing but X's for Gary Skidmore.
It did not look like Gary Skidmore was going to even make the show last night. Going into the position round, he was actually in 7th place and leapfrogged to 5th. He was very finish. His final game last night, 255.
Another great shot from Gary and a very fortunate finish Last night, not only did he bowl very, very good, but Tom Baker and Jess Stayrook, who were fighting it out at 5th and 6th for that last spot. It looked like it was going to come down to one of them. Unfortunately, Tom Baker had a tough game, and for Jess Stayrook, who bowled great the entire week, got a little high in the 10th frame and allowed Gary Skidmore to just jump right above him.
Doug Kent here in the second, working on a strike.
Come on.
And he leaves the 10 pin. That's the one thing that I don't think people realize, Marshall. Every week you only see the 5 players who make it to the TV finals, but that's just the culmination of a week of work and a lot of heartbreak.
I've always said it's easier bowling on the telecast than it is getting to the telecast.
Yeah, there are 3 qualifying rounds with a field of about 120 bowlers, and these are the top 5 who've made it, and Doug Kent with the spare in the second. Kent on ESPN won the Japan Cup last September. He got interested in bowling at a very young age. His mom and dad would take him to the lanes when he was about 5 or 6, and he'd often watch on Saturday afternoons Earl Anthony, Mark Roth, that Marshall Holman guy again. And another strike for Doug Kent in the third.
As we take a look at Doug Kent, the way he keeps his body right over the shot. Beautiful trajectory. Ball holds the pocket. All the pins are gone. Gary Skidmore with the opportunity to stretch this into a 20-pin lead after 3 frames. Really lofted that ball out there. And everything is going Gary Skidmore's way. That's the same shot that Doug Kent left the 10-pin. I saw it, Gary. I'm watching, buddy. Take a look how far he gets the ball out onto the lane. It went right out of our picture, Mike.
And he is in a groove. Gary Skidmore up by 20 in the 4th frame. On lane 23, he bowled 223 on these TV lanes this week. That was his average, and another strike for Gary Skidmore. He's got 4 in a row here in round 2 against Doug Kent. And we're coming back to Albuquerque.
The PBA presents How to Bowl Like the Pros. Step 1, practice precise footwork. Step 2, maintain proper bowling posture. Step 3, always follow through. And remember, keep your composure. For more tips on how to bowl like the pros, watch the PBA Tour on ESPN.
So instead of winning this series, they now go to a pivotal Game 7. Rich?
If you're really into sports, you'll really be into new ESPN, the magazine, issue after issue. You'll be involved like no sports magazine ever involved you before.
Do we have a problem here?
ESPN, the magazine, is big. Bigger in size, bigger with news, pictures, player profiles, inside information, and amazing access to places you've never been before. So call now for ESPN, the magazine. Get 26 issues, a year's worth, for just $1 an issue, saving you over 66% off the newsstand price. And you'll get this great freebie.
T-shirt.
The ESPN The Magazine T-shirt. 100% cotton with the world-famous ESPN The Magazine Bullseye logo. ESPN The Magazine. At last, you have something to do when you're not watching ESPN.
Call 1-800-634-6363.
The PBA is proud to sponsor bowling's richest scholarship event for youth bowlers, the American Scholarship Tournament. You can find information on how to enter the American Scholarship Tournament by visiting the PBA's website at www.pbatour.com or by calling toll-free at 1-800-BOWL-AST. Doug Kent in the 4th. Trying to answer against Gary Skidmore. He's got 13 in a row.
And he needs to answer. And Gary Skidmore with 13 strikes in a row. As many of the people out there watching know, anytime you get any 12 in a row, Andy Varapapa, the great bowler from yesteryear, used to call that a 300 game.
It's got to be in a row, though, right?
Got to be 12.
I think I've had 12 in my life. That doesn't count?
Mike, that's not quite doing it.
Doug Kent in the 5th frame.
Cut it to a 10-pin deficit with a strike here in the 5th.
Indeed. Doug Kent rolls a strike in the 5th frame.
We take a look at a split screen of Doug Kent and Gary Skidmore. We'll take a look at Doug Kent first. 5-step approach. You can see he gets the ball out almost out in this area here. Knocks it out about 7 feet. We can see Gary Skidmore. He throws the ball right out of frame. He's actually lofting a good 7 or 8 feet, going more direct with the ball than Doug Kent. Both getting the job done.
And as we come back to live action, Gary Skidmore with a 9 in the 5th frame. He left the 10 pin, and he will be going for the spare here in the 5th, ending his streak of 13 in a row.
Well, still keeps him with a 9-pin lead with a conversion here. Always was a great spare shooter. Could throw the ball so hard, so straight.
And so Gary Skidmore leaves the 10 but knocks it down to get the spare in the 5th frame, but opportunity finally knocking for Doug Kent.
And I don't see Gary Skidmore becoming a touring player again. He's bowling, kind of making a cameo appearance this week. Maybe he'll bowl sporadically as a member, but I don't see him being a touring player any longer.
Well, in fact, he and his wife are still deciding if he's going to go to Austin next week and if he's going to start to enter some more tournaments.
And a solid 10 on lane 23. Hey, Gary, I don't know what to do. Looked like a good shot to me. Don't look for my help. You're on your own.
So I guess you two have patched it up since 1984.
We patched it up the very next week. No big deal at all. It was.
So there won't be a cage match between you two.
No, that wouldn't work out so good. Gary's a little bigger than I am. I want to show a little respect. You see Eve and Aaron, Gary's wife and son.
Gary has 7 children.
That'll keep you busy.
No wonder he doesn't have time to be on tour.
Doug Kent with his first opportunity to take the lead here in the 6th frame. He's down by 8. He's up by 2.
And so Doug Kent finally gets a break as the 10-pin goes down.
As we take a look at Doug Kent playing a little straighter trajectory around the 2nd arrow. Watch the 6-pin go in the gutter. Just barely knocks it out, and he knows he's caught a good break there, and he needs it.
4 in a row now for Doug Kent. He comes up to the 7th frame, leading by 2 on lane 23. And he's on the money again. Doug Kent strikes here in the 7th. And now we have this word from the PBA.
The PBA presents how to bowl like the pros. Step 1, practice precise footwork. Step 2, maintain proper bowling posture. Step 3, always follow through. And remember, keep your composure. For more tips on how to bowl like the pros, watch the PBA Tour on ESPN.
Oh, no, I forgot Valentine's Day!
Don't panic. A dozen red roses are always the perfect gift. That is, if they didn't drop dead in days and cost over $60. This year, give her beautiful silk roses that last a lifetime. Forever Roses for only $19.95. She'll be delighted when Forever Roses are delivered right to her door in a florist box filled with a dozen of the finest silk roses wrapped with baby's breath and a personalized greeting card, all for just $19.95. But wait, call today and we'll include a second dozen absolutely free. That's 2 dozen long stem roses handcrafted from the finest silk to stay as beautiful as the day you sent them. Just call this toll-free number now to send Forever Roses for only $19.95. And we guarantee delivery for Valentine's Day. Call now and have your credit card or personal check ready. Sorry, no mail-in or COD orders accepted, but supplies are limited. So to order for this Valentine's Day, you must call right now.
Call 1-800-493-1221.
Do you ever wonder what goes on in an NHL locker room in between periods?
Whoa, guys, it's an octopus.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Oh, way to work. It's kind of like an octopus.
Welcome back to our second stop of the year on the PBA Tour, the Albuquerque Open. Don't forget, today on ESPN at 5:30 Eastern, the best in the NFL are in Honolulu for the 1998 Pro Bowl, and ESPN is there. ESPN's NFL Countdown presents a special NFL Pro Bowl 3-game special. Chris Berman and Tom Jackson and the gang will be live from Aloha Stadium. We're going to have features on Warren Sapp and John Randall and the Giants' Michael Strahan at Pearl Harbor. That's later today on ESPN. Gary Skidmore in the 7th frame, trailing by 12.
And something distracted Gary. He says he moved right in the middle of his approach. One of our cameramen, and Gary, there's going to be a lot of things moving out there.
Well, Gary had everything going for him for quite a while.
Right, and he needs to put this out of his mind. He's smiling. He's going to be okay. But, you know, right now, Gary Skidmore, and nothing against Mike Scroggins. Mike Scroggins is a very talented player. But Doug Kent is a level or two higher. He's at the upper echelon of players on our tour.
Didn't seem to bother him too much.
As he gives a little coming at you to the cameraman as if to say, that's all right. We'll take a look at this style we've become familiar with of Gary Skidmore. Watch the 6-pin again. Bang, there goes the 10-pin. Up comes the arm.
So Gary Skidmore now up in the 8th, looking for the double.
With a chance to cut it to 2 pins, and right now Doug Kent's been sitting on the bench for quite a while, so this could really put some heat on him. Oh, that ball, he got around that ball. He did not stay behind it. The ball twirled down the lane. That's why it didn't have the power to knock the 10-pin out. And take a look, watch it, you can see the release. The ball's spinning more than he wanted it. 6-pin stays in the channel, doesn't knock out the 10, and he knows that wasn't a good shot.
So now he gets the spare in the 8th frame.
Now we'll see how Doug Kent can react. As I said earlier, he hasn't bowled for a while. There's been a commercial. Gary Skidmore was up throwing a couple of shots. It's probably been 3 or 4 minutes since Doug Kent has thrown a ball. We'll see how he handles it in what I consider to be the most important shot of the game for Doug Kent. He's taking a re-rack. He saw something down there, Mike, that he didn't like, decided maybe that one, generally it's the 1 and the 3-pin for the right-hander, might have been a little too tight together or a little bit too far apart, and that can affect your mindset in making the shot.
And as I understand it, each bowler can get 2 re-racks per game.
They get 2 re-racks a game as long as they do it in their first order of business. If they pick the ball up and then ask for a re-rack, tournament director will not give it to him. That ball's got a hook. Oh, and he made a great shot, leaves the solid 10. But that ball was a little bit wide of his target. We'll take a look from head on. He actually got this ball a little right of where he wanted it. The ball kicked back into the pocket, but the entry angle was a little bit different, thereby affecting the solid 10.
And the 10-pin has been the enemy for both Gary Skidmore and Doug Kent in this match.
Hang on. If anything has been a problem for Doug Kent in the past, he's gotten a little sloppy with his single-pin conversions. He hangs on and makes that one.
He's up by 11. This is a guy who tries not to get too up or too down during a match. He says he prefers the Mike Albee or Parker Bone approach to always stay on an even keel.
And it's been fairly successful doing that. You know, his bowling goals, he wants to be the PBA Player of the Year. Those are very, very lofty goals, but he's got the kind of physical game to do it. Hang on. Look at that ball hang in there. I thought that ball was going to be a little bit high. It held the pocket all the way down the lane, sets himself up in the 9th frame with a strike. And right now, Gary Skidmore cannot shut out Doug Kent. Gary Skidmore can shoot 248. Doug Kent can have a possible 259. And there's a tie still very possible in this game.
Down by 11 pins. Gary Skidmore in the 9th.
And all the good breaks Gary Skidmore had kind of vanished right there in the 9th frame.
The 8th pin is still standing.
Solid 8. Really, the only true tap is we'll see the perfect pocket hit. The 5 pin is actually forced back and chopped straight off the 8 pin. And all he can say is, wow. Keep your composure. Make this spare, Gary. All right.
Sort of clipped it there.
Just barely. Right now, Gary Skidmore, the best he can do, 237. As he said, he threw it good. You better believe he threw it good. With a 237, Doug Kent would have to fill 19 pins in the 10th frame. The match still has not been determined.
So Skidmore in the 10th frame. This is a guy who finished extremely well, as I mentioned last night. And now he's going to try to finish strong here to put some pressure on Doug Kent. This is our 2nd round match. If you're just joining us, Gary Skidmore from Albuquerque. He has the hometown crowd on his side. He beat Mike Scroggins in our opening round. And now he's trying to climb the ladder and knock off Doug Kent.
Needs to put some pressure on him, Mike. Excuse me, he really has to have it, and just barely sort of saws that 5 pin over. Very politely saws the 5 pin over. Still has a chance. Well, let's take a look at this shot. Watch the way the ball enters the pocket. Just a little bit light, and just ever so slightly touches the 5 pin.
You can hear the crowd chanting, Gary, Gary. He wants to strike out here in the 10th, trailing by 12.
Got a break there. Got to round that ball a little bit, Mike, but was able to hit light enough in the pocket to sort of shake him down. Had that ball hooked a little higher, it probably would have been another 10 pin. Watch at the release. He gets around the ball just a little bit more, delays the roll, comes in light, sort of scatters him. He knows how important that strike is.
It can be such a fickle game when you throw what you think is a perfect ball and you lead the solid 10, and then you throw the ball and you don't think it's very good and you knock the ball down.
Well, that's part of the game of bowling, and we all understand that. Gary Skidmore, regardless of whether he wins or loses this match, has afforded himself very, very handsomely here in this tournament in Albuquerque.
He finishes with a 237 by striking out in the 10th frame.
19? No, no.
And we see Doug Kent. He nods his head. He expects Gary Skidmore to strike out.
I thought he was shooting 240.
Here's what Doug Kent needs right now. If he strikes, he's a winner. If he spares and gets 9, he's a winner. He wants to strike. There's the winner.
Does. So Doug Kent, in our 2nd round match, eliminates the hometown hero, Gary Skidmore. And Doug Kent will now move on to our 3rd round match against Ricky Ward.
That solid 8's probably the sweetest shot all week.
Doug Kent, who averaged 213 in our TV lanes this week, leaves the solid 10 as he closes out the 10th frame.
With this conversion, Doug Kent 248 to Gary Skidmore's 237. An excellent match. Very, very, very well bowled on both sides of the each player. They really made good shots through the entire match.
And so there is your winner of our 2nd round match, Doug Kent, the 10-year veteran from Canandaigua, New York. And he's about to meet a Floridian, Ricky Ward, when we come back.
Sometimes you need to take them away from the TV and video games, whether they want to leave or not. Because sometimes you can show them things they'll never find in their room at home. And sometimes you can teach them things that are worth learning just from you. And sometimes they can find something in themselves that they never knew they had. Bowling at BPAA centers, it's a whole lot more than a game.
Clearview Lanes in Mount Joy.
Oh, how happy you have made me.
$2.99 a month with no money down. Now that's something to smile about. Right now at your Quality Plus Ford dealer, you can drive a Ford Taurus for only $2.99 a month with zero down and free scheduled maintenance. That's all of your scheduled maintenance for 3 years or 36,000 miles. Free. That's another plus. Only from your Quality Plus Ford dealer.
Welcome back to Leisure Lanes, getting ready for our third round match of the Albuquerque Open. And don't forget, later today, live at 6 p.m. Eastern on ABC Sports, the roughest and toughest in the NFL will meet in Hawaii for the AFC-NFC Pro Bowl. That'll feature the who's who of the NFL. Terrell Davis, Jerome Bettis, Neil Smith, Drew Bledsoe from the AFC, from the NFC, Steve Young, Barry Sanders, Reggie White, Dorsey Levens. Later today, the Pro Bowl on ABC Sports. Now, all season long, we're going to try to improve your bowling game with our Hall of Famer Marshall Holman. Now, here is this week's Score More with Brunswick.
Just like pilots need the right stuff when it comes to making the perfect landing, a bowler needs the right release in order to maximize his chances of throwing a strike. Now, there are many reasons why a ball won't strike, but the release is always key. Let's take a look at why. As you can see, with this particular shot, things look pretty good, but watch the arm as it comes through and the ball as it goes up out onto the lane. That's hitting up on the ball. That'll make the ball hook early. In this case, it's a 3-10 split. Certainly not what we're looking for. Now we'll take a look at a good shot. I've delayed the arm swing just a little bit. This gives me the opportunity to get my body in the right position at the release. You see the ball is launched out onto the lane. The ball goes longer down the lane, and the desired result, high flush in the pocket, we've got our strike. So what can we do to remedy the problem of hitting up on the ball? Well, there are a couple of things that we can look for. Number one, slow your arm swing to delay the release just that very little bit. This will give you better timing. And number two, use the image of an airplane landing onto the runway. You don't want it to come down hard. You want it to come down very smooth. Remember, everybody wants to throw a strike with every shot that we throw. If you get the proper release, you're one step closer to doing exactly that.
And our pros today must have been watching the tip by Marshall Holman, because our averages are way up. Will it continue? We'll be right back with round 3.
I take the same route to the local pro shop. I wear the same boxers on every show. I watch the same TV program every week. I listen to the same CD every night. I eat the same thing on Wednesdays. I am the same man I used to be. I have a different ball for every lane, but they're all from the same company.
Man, this gray hair makes me look old.
Then do what I did. Get rid of it.
You were gray? I never knew that.
No one can tell you use the remarkable hair coloring called Just for Men. Simply shampoo in, then rinse. In only 5 minutes, this unique Just for Men formula blends away the gray, actually matches your gray to your real color.
Even I can't tell what used to be gray. Thanks.
Just for Men. Looks so natural, even friends can't tell.
Hold the oven.
Want a bingle? Get the tingle. Your signal. New Dentine is scrubbing, brushing your breath. Fresher than ever.
It always does that.
How nice.
Brush your breath clean with new Dentine.
Bet you Bud Light, my friend here, can beat you.
Yeah, right. Okay, pal, you're on.
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down.
This Would be mine.
Make it a Bud Light.
Bud Light says my friend here can beat you.
I like being in control. With this Dinerex, I control the cause of my dandruff every day.
Dinerex Advanced Formulas medicine doesn't just treat the symptoms. It controls a leading cause of dandruff called P.O. Valley.
Now that's serious control.
Dinerex Advanced Formula.
Limited edition lithographs of the PBA's 4 Triple Crown winners are available by calling the PBA Tour. Only 1,000 of these lithographs were printed, and each lithograph features the authentic individual signatures of the PBA's 4 Triple Crown winners: Mike Albee, Billy Hardwick, Johnny Petranglia, and Pete Weber. And for more information, call the PBA at 330-836-5568. And now Marshall Holman with our top 24.
Thank you, Mike. Finishing in 6th place. I was missing by just 2 pins. Jess Stayrook. Tom Baker from Buffalo, the runner-up last week. C.K. Moore, 1996 Rookie of the Year, and Mike Edwards finishing in 8th place. Ryan Schaefer qualified for match play again. Dave Arnold rolled a 300 game in the last round of competition. Lee Vanderhoff. I'm telling you, this guy throws a buzzsaw. Steve Hoskins, you saw him win last year. Mike Haugen Jr. making the finals for the 2nd time in a row. Danny Wiseman, he also shot a 300 this week. Eugene McCune, he's looking for that first title. It could come soon. Sean Swanson, another young player in a tough rookie field. Michael Diaz, another good player coming down from Colorado this week. Jason Couch, he finished 4th last week. Looking strong again. Paul Yoder from right here in Albuquerque. He owns the Pro Shop in this very bowling center. And Bob Learn, the record holder, making the top 24 again. Steve Jaros coming off his best year. Lee DiBenedetto coming all the way from Sydney, Australia. And our top 24 was rounded out by Del Ballard, looking like his old self again. And speaking of a great bowler, I'm here with Butch Soper, our leader. And Butch, the scores are pretty good right now. What do you think it's going to take to win?
I don't think the scores are going to be this high. I tell you, I'm getting scared here. This is the toughest position to be in. You got to wait around an hour and 5 minutes. These guys are all warming up. I just took 4 practice balls, and they were pretty good. So hopefully, I think it's going to take 240 to win.
He thinks it's going to take 240. I happen to know if it comes down to the 9th and 10th frames, Butch Soper is not afraid to make the shot to win the tournament. Good luck, buddy.
Thanks.
All right, Marshall.
Back to you, Mike.
Butch, thank you very much. And Butch is right. You know, the top-seeded player has lost 14 of the last 16 title matches. Doug Kent trying to climb the ladder as we're set to begin our 3rd round match. He'll meet up with Ricky Ward, who you may remember from our telecast last week in Brentwood, California. Kent is ranked 9th by the PBA. This is a guy who knows how to run the ladder. He ran the ladder in the 1996 Greater Detroit Open. And he opens the 3rd round match with a strike on lane 23.
And Mike, he's found himself a little bit of room to pull the ball to the left and to arc the ball a little to the right. So he's got a couple of boards out there to play with. Our first look at Ricky Ward. Haven't seen him since, last week. And he's moved in a little bit, Mike. He was playing straighter down the lanes. The lefties told me that the lane 24 did hook a little more. Be interesting to see on lane 23 if he moves out further or if he goes with a little softer speed.
Well, this is his 2nd straight TV finals, and he told me he's not getting off TV until he finally wins one.
Well, I'm
we'll
sure
see if that happens today.
It very well could happen today. And these are 2 players who are looking to dominate the tour. Never quite gotten there before. Ricky Ward starts out with a great double. You know he's mentally tough. He showed that last week.
Ricky Ward is ranked 15th by the PBA, and he puts a little pressure on Doug Kent as Ricky Ward opens with 2 strikes. Kent now. Our 3rd round match, 2nd frame.
Doug Kent, considered by his peers one of the most consistent players on tour.
And yet another strike for Doug Kent. I was going to ask you because, you know, Walter Ray Williams won his 4th PBA Player of the Year award last year. But I want to know who the new stars on tour in 1998 will be. We saw Parker Bone last week, and you really like this guy, Doug Kent.
Well, I would have picked Doug Kent before the start of the year, and with what Ricky Ward has done so far this year, he's shown me that he really wants to put his name up there as not just a good player, but a player who has the opportunity to be a dominant figure on tour.
Kent in the third.
Almost a solid 8. We saw the solid 8 last game left by Gary Skidmore. This time, the last pin to fall over, and I'm not sure what touches it. It's the 8 pin. Very, very good shot. Take a look. I'm still not sure, but Doug doesn't care. He's just glad the darn thing fell over.
Looked like the Leaning Tower of Pisa for a while there.
Ricky Ward doing nothing wrong with 3 in a row himself, and you know, poor Ricky, last week he lost 277 to 266 to Tom Baker. You know, you shoot 266 on national television, Mike. You're supposed to win that game. So far in this tournament, his opposition, nothing but strikes.
Ricky's goal is to win at least one tournament every year, plus a couple of the majors. He was the Rookie of the Year in '91. Ricky Ward has opened with 4 strikes.
Well, our viewers are being treated to some great bowling today. A lot of striking as we see Ricky Ward starts about the 13 board, sends it out to 6, coming back flush. He knows it's a good shot. Will it strike? Yes.
Doug Kent in the 4th frame.
You can see him blowing out a little air to relax himself. Must keep it going, and he does.
You know, it's interesting that you said these guys have adjusted so well to the lanes this week. I don't think people know. When you look at bowling lanes from the naked eye, they all look the same. But I think you were telling me they're a lot like putting greens in that there's a little break here, a little break there, uphill, downhill.
Every lane has its own characteristics. And then with the way the PBA comes in and does the lane maintenance, putting the oil down on the lanes, that changes the way the ball will react. So, for instance, a player like Gary Skidmore, who's more familiar with leisure bowl than, say, a Doug Kent, his advantage is taken away by the PBA lane maintenance people, and their job is to make the lanes as competitive and as fair for everyone as possible, and I think they're doing a darn good job.
We've had a 246 average so far on these 2 lanes today.
And it looks as though the first one to slip up may be in trouble here. It's not going to be Doug Kent, at least not yet.
5 in a row for Doug Kent. We've seen nothing but strikes so far in the 3rd round.
This is the way a bowler likes to have the reaction. Watches it, makes a nice move into the pocket, and everything falls in unison.
Ricky Ward trying to match Doug Kent in the 5th. And another strike for Ward. Ward is a guy who, in order to relax before a tournament, he'll actually take a bath or a shower, and what he does is he closes his eyes and he just thinks of pleasant things, maybe a babbling brook, a gorgeous waterfall, or rolling strikes.
Whatever it takes to get you into the right frame of mind to perform at this level, you go ahead and do it. I wouldn't think harshly of any kind of motivation. And look at that. He knew that was good off his hand, and he's sort of strutting his stuff right now. Ricky Ward got the front 6.
6 in a row for Ward, putting a little pressure on Kent here in the 6th.
So, Mike,
by 10 pins.
The PBA is going to be giving out a bonus of $20,000 for a perfect game in the semifinal match. If a bowler was to throw 300 in the last match, our title match, it would be 25. Right now, both of our competitors with the front 6. As we take a look at Doug Kent playing that more of a down and in line, you'll see it just trace right back into the pocket. Great shot for Doug Kent.
This is another guy who loves the game of golf. And that was like hitting a 60-foot putt right there.
Yes, it was. Doug Kent taking a re-rack as we see a breakdown for Doug Kent on lane 23. He has 8 strikes. Lane 24 having a little more trouble. His carry is better on lane 23. He sure hopes it stays that way as he's up in the 7th frame.
He Started bowling at a young age, entered a regional as a teenager, his first regional. He won that regional and has been gearing toward a bowling career ever since. I think it was the right choice.
Well, it's everything is just answer this.
And he's waving the towel.
Well, Ricky Ward was strutting his stuff a minute ago. Take a look at this shot by Doug Kent. High flush in the pocket. That'll kind of make you feel good about yourself as he takes a 10-pin lead over Ricky Ward. Poor Ricky Ward. 277 shot on by Tom Baker last week. What will Doug Kent shoot? And there's the first opening in the game. Ricky Ward leaves the soft 7-pin on lane 24. By no means the out of the match, but he's 11 pins down with a conversion here in the 7th frame. Hasn't been a lot of spare shot lately, Mike, so we'll see how he handles it. But no problem.
So Ward with a spare in the 7th, trailing now by 11 pins as he switches to lane 23 and the 8th frame.
Looks like he's up there whistling. Seems pretty relaxed for a guy that's bowling against somebody who's got 7 in a row. Must start the strikes up again here. He cannot afford to lay down for Doug Kent. Come on! Messenger goes to the sideboard, does not come back to get the 7-pin. Actually comes in front of the 7-pin. We'll take a look at this. Watch the head pin right here. It's going to go to the sideboard, come back, but it comes in front. Here it comes, right in front of the 7-pin.
And he picks up the spare. And so Ward,
now 12
starting
pin down.
With 6 straight strikes. Spares in the 7th. Spares again in the 8th. Doug Kent has 7 in a row. He's up by 12 in the 8th frame. This is our 3rd round match. Kent knocking off Gary Skidmore in our 2nd round. Butch Soper waiting in the lane.
That's got a hook. That ball was right at his target, and it was fast. A lot of times, Mike, when you get excited, you have a tendency to throw the ball harder. And not only did he get excited and throw it harder, he also threw it a little bit farther to the right, much more room for the ball to hook up, more room for the ball to have to travel. Didn't quite get there. Now he only has a 10-pin lead, and he's also left himself a very difficult spare to pick up.
The strategy is here to hit the...
Well, you want to hook the ball into the 2-8. He throws it soft. It's got to hurry, and it does not hook. Ricky Ward takes the lead, sitting on the bench, and as Doug Kent missed that, I watched Ricky Ward go, wow. Take a look. It does not come back. It just misses the 2-pin. Tough break.
And so after 7 straight strikes for the veteran Doug Kent, leaves an open frame now in the 8th. He's got a 206 in the 8th, trailing by 2 pins.
Well, he put it behind him.
And that is such a key to be able to put an open frame behind him. Doug Kent did that. Pressure continues on Ricky Ward.
My mind is less fuzzy.
Here's what real people think about Ginkgoba.
Ginkgoba has given me a sharpness and an alertness that I didn't have before.
I felt a remarkable difference.
Talked to my doctor about Ginkgoba. He said, take it. It will help your memory.
Clinical evidence shows the natural supplement Ginkgoba safely increases the flow of oxygen to the brain, sharpening concentration, mental focus, even helping to improve your memory.
Ginkgoba has helped me to think better. I think Ginkgoba has helped clear my mind. It just cleared the cobwebs out.
Think better. Think Ginkgoba.
Gentlemen, I'm going to read you your rights. You had the right to be strong, to be healthy, to shine. The right to make your own choices. And when it comes to your hair, you have the right to choose Pantene Pro V. The Pro Vitamin formula gets in there, penetrating root to tip, improving it all. It helps keep your hair healthy, shiny, strong. Pantene Pro V, for hair so healthy, it shines. It's the right stuff.
The Albuquerque Open continues, and later today on ESPN at 6 p.m. Eastern, the best in senior golf take to the links in Florida for the Royal Caribbean Classic Exciting final round coverage begins at 6 p.m. Eastern from Key Biscayne, Florida. Two-time winner Lee Trevino is amongst the early leaders, as is Raymond Floyd. Dave Stockton shot a 64 on Friday, tying the course record. The Senior PGA Tour later today on ESPN.
Well, I'd like to have Dave Stockton's putting touch, but it's never going to happen.
And we're going to find out now about Ricky Ward's bowling touch in the 9th frame, up by 2.
If he does not,
third round
if
match.
he does not strike here, Doug Kent will have his chance to shut him out. And he does not strike. The best Ricky Ward can do, 257. Right now, Doug Kent with strikes in the 10th, 11th, 12th, 266. But Ricky Ward still up by 1 pin.
Ward with a 9 in the 9th.
Hang on.
Despair.
Ricky Ward's a cool customer. The more I watch him, the more I really appreciate the way he handles himself out there on the lanes, under the lights during what is considered to be a rather pressure-packed time in a professional bowler's life.
You think?
I think so.
Ward in the 10th. And he knocks them all down. He strikes in the 10th.
Keeps that 1-pin lead, and more importantly, gives himself a chance to extend to 11 pins with a strike here, second ball in the 10th.
Ricky's 29 years old, and he told me he thinks of himself as a young, seasoned veteran.
He's been out for quite a while now, and he has matured. I think it shows by the way he handles himself. There's a lot of stuff happening there, happening in front of him right now. People have left him with cards, and he just concentrates, throws a shot, and strikes a lot.
2 strikes in the 10th now for Ward.
Well, last week, Ricky shot 266. It was not enough against Tom Baker's 277. Will 257 be enough this week against Doug Kent? We'll have to wait and see. He throws this shot. He knows it was good. He's down on a knee. That's right. Still important.
Ricky, he's so fine. You see the card in the back? We'll see how fine. Yeah.
Well, he's done everything he possibly can right now, Mike. He struck out in the 10th frame. Right now, he forces Doug Kent to strike 2 times in the 10th frame in order to win. Anything less, Ricky Ward will bowl Butch Soper for the title here in Albuquerque.
How about that for 2 appearances in the TV finals? A 266 last week, and he lost. A 257 this week, and the pressure is on Doug Kent.
Remember last frame, threw it hard and wide. Come on. And that's an unfortunate break. Doug Kent made a great shot. Got the ball a little bit wide, but he threw it slower and got the good fingers. As we'll see the 6-pin wrapped right around the 10. We've seen that darn ring in 10 too many times, especially on the right-hand lane. Well, he makes his spare. It's not going to make a difference. Right now, Ricky Ward, he's your winner. He'll be bowling against Butch Soper for the title.
Ricky Ward, the 29-year-old from North Fort Myers, Florida, will advance to our championship round against Butch Soper as Doug Kent closes out the 10th frame. What a fine week for Doug Kent. Won the Japan Cup last September, but here in January he will not win. At the Albuquerque Open, the championship match is coming up. Ricky Ward, the left-hander, against the veteran right-hander Butch Soper. And we'll get to the championship round when we come back.
It's a tank.
A dancer.
Dudes off the jars. It's on target. Concrete. A theory.
Ruthless. Only meaner.
It's there in the 10th frame. Perfect symmetry. It's a partner. A hero.
A scapegoat.
It's war and peace.
It's a Brunswick ball.
Rennie Lane. It's a habit.
This has got to be wrong.
What?
Our long distance bill.
That high, huh?
No, that low?
People who use 10-3-2-1 are doing a double take on their long-distance bill.
Must be someone else's.
You save over AT&T on every call in the U.S.
Every call is less, and all the calls over 20 minutes are 50% less.
You just dial 10-3-2-1, then 1, the area code and number.
And the international rates are great. I could get used to this. Let's call someone.
Okay.
10-3-2-1.
Oh, your mother.
I'm Ironhead Hayward. I'm used to challenges, and I challenge you to try Zest deodorant body wash. Now, I hear you snickering. But Ironhead, aren't body washes for ladies? Ow! Listen, chump, Zest doesn't have heavy moisturizers. But Ironhead, what's with this thingy? That lather builder works with Zest body wash to give you twice the fresh-smelling lather of this bar, and it rinses cleaner, so you're cleaner, more refreshed, period.
Zest body wash. Get cleaner, more refreshed.
Get zestfully clean.
Can your radio do this? Only one radio gives you such big stereo sound, yet it's small enough to fit almost anywhere. The incredible Wave Radio from Bose. Only the Wave Radio can fill any room in your house with sound that popular science called a sonic marvel. The Bose Wave Radio. It'll make a big difference in the way you listen to music. Call today to learn about our 30-day in-home trial and 6-month payment plan.
Back in Albuquerque, getting ready for our championship match. Ricky Ward against Butch Soper here at Leisure Lanes. And don't forget, next Saturday, February 7th at 2 p.m. Eastern, it's the Columbia 300 Open, live from the Highland Lanes in Austin, Texas. Walter Ray Williams Jr. will be looking to capture his second consecutive title. Sunday, February 15th, 4 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be in Peoria, Illinois for the Peoria Open as Wayne Webb shoots for the three-peat at the 19th annual Peoria Open. And then Sunday, February 22nd, it's the PBA National Championship at 2 p.m. Eastern. Ducat's Imperial Lanes is where we'll be in Toledo, Ohio, as the PBA will make its 17th annual pilgrimage to Toledo for the PBA National Championship. Butch Soper will lead us off in our championship round. Butch, 48 years old, from Lake Havasu City, Arizona. What a week he's had. He opened up in qualifying. After the first round of qualifying, he was 67th. But
moved all the way up.
Consistent ever since.
Yeah, he moved up very, very quickly. He went to 11th in the second round, and then second in the third, and then it was nothing but leader after that.
Yeah. So Butch Soper.
A lot of pressure on Butch Soper right now. Ricky Ward really in a very, very good groove. Makes it difficult for Butch, who's coming out after watching the first few matches. He's going to have to figure the lanes out early. He had a little bit of problem in practice, but he got together with his ball rep, and they actually, and this is legal on our tour, you can take a little bit of Scotch-Brite or some sandpaper and dull the ball a little bit. That'll get the ball rolling earlier, and with that earlier roll, it'll help get it up to the pocket.
Soper will lead us off in our championship match, and he begins with a strike. He's had a lot of those this week, even bowled a 300 during qualifying. And so Ricky Ward, who was in our tournament in Brentwood a week ago, beating Doug Kenton our third round, opens up the championship round with a strike. And that's the way our championship round begins. 2 straight strikes, one from Soper, one from Ward.
Well, today they're averaging between all the players 247 and 2/3 on this championship round pair. I look for a lot of strikes in this match too. Now Ricky Ward got to be feeling good about the way things are going in this match.
Ward, too, also had a very consistent week. Started off 29th, moved up the ladder. Open with the strike.
Putting the pressure right on Butch Soper. As we take a look, Ricky knows it's a good shot, but could be the 7-pin. Oh no, it's gone.
He really gets energized by the crowd. Soper was in the 2 finals in his first tournament almost 22 years ago to the date. Losing to Bill Beach at the Los Angeles Open.
And Soper says he takes credit for making Bill Beach a star of the 70s. And, you know, Butch has not changed his demeanor or his style of bowling. And I've known him since 1983. I bowled my first tournament in Portland, Oregon. He was a member of the tour back then. And he's always thrown the ball pretty straight. He's never changed anything. Never gets too upset or too excited, although if he wins this tournament, we may see some added emotion from Mr. Soper.
Well, this is a guy who really knows his ups and downs and what it's like to go through all these years of bowling. I mean, he told me he won $150,000 more in 1996 and only $13,000 on tour last year. Talk about ups and downs.
That'll humble you, and that kind of strike will humble Ricky Ward. It's uncanny, the ability that Butch Soper has to put the ball in the pocket and strike. Take a look. Nice looking shot going up about the 7 board. Stops, high flush in the pocket. Ho-hum, nice shot, Butch.
Ward working on 2 strikes. Third frame, and he gets it.
Well, Ricky Ward knows what it's like to have his opposition put the heat on him. He's seen nothing but strikes out of his opposition the last couple of games. Fortunate to not have Doug Kent strike in the 10th frame. That affords him the opportunity to go for the title here. And he defeated Butch Soper 2 times earlier this week, but that doesn't mean anything right now. Everything is fresh. As he goes for 4 in a row. Come on, Messenger. And he got that one. We're going to take a look at this one as he puts the guns back in his holster. Ricky Ward with a great shot. If we see this ball start out around the 2nd arrow, going out to 6 board, coming back in, light in the pocket. Look at the way that head pin rushes back over to get the 10. And look at this reaction as he shoots him down.
So Soper now in the 4th frame.
Must strike to keep pace. That's got to hurry. Almost get the trip of the 2-pin, but that ball was right off his hand.
And so a 9 in the 4th for Soper, leaving the 2-pin after 3 straight strikes. This is a guy who keeps at this profession because he loves it.
That's a shot that I believe would have gotten back to pocket the last 8 games of match play. Not quite as much room for Butch Soper today on the telecast as they had earlier in the week.
Marshall, he told me last night that he's one of the last of the spinners. I didn't even know he could sing. I mean...
Well, he does sort of top the ball off his hand. He's got a unique style. You wouldn't teach the youngsters of today to bowl that way. There's his lovely wife, Dawn. She flew in today from Lake Havasu City. That ball bounced. Yikes. It brought Dawn out of her chair and fortunate to make 8 pins. As we take a look at this shot, he just got it down early, and look at this. Boing.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's not the way you want to land that airplane, Butch.
So an 8 in the 5th after sparing in the 4th.
Well, Butch Soper, known as a great spare shooter, but very fortunate to pick that one up. Only 13 pins behind Ricky Ward right now. Ricky Ward with the hammer could make it 23 with a strike in the 5th frame. And I know all Ricky's thinking about right now is this one shot, but let's take it up a few shots. If he were to strike 8 more times, he's kind of early. $25,000 bonus for a 300 here in the championship match.
I asked you this last week. You can start talking about 300s in the 5th frame, and that's not a jinx?
No, how can it be a jinx? I'm up here, they're down there. I mean, I don't.
You know in baseball how they don't like to talk about no-hitters till you get to about the 8th inning.
I don't give myself that much credit for having any power over the players down there.
He's on my team.
Well, Ricky Ward has got some power. He's got 5 in a row here in our championship match. Coming to the 6th frame now, and he's up by 23 pins.
A lot of interplay between Ricky Ward and Rick Benoit, his ball rep, and between Butch Soper and Billy Yeager, the ball rep that helped him out.
And as you mentioned last week, the ball rep is sort of like a crew chief.
Yeah, very important. He helps put the right ball in the hands of the player, and then helps them to tweak it ever so slightly on how it will work best for them. for 6 in a row. You got it. A lot of confidence in the 29-year-old Ricky Ward. He's got a 33-pin lead over Butch Soper, and Butch Soper, who came in light on lane 24 last time, must figure out the proper way to strike. Just the way I taught you, Butch.
Soper answers in the 6th with a strike. This is a guy who works very hard on his game. He says he has a great couch at home. He just never gets to sit on it. He's always working at the game.
He's on the road as much as anybody. He bowls virtually every tournament. When he isn't bowling, he works in the press room. When he isn't bowling on television, he's out in the truck helping with the graphics. He's a busy man. Very important. And leaves the soft 10-pin. And you heard him say that hurt, and it does.
Well, you mentioned, Marshall, that it is so much tougher for a guy in the top seed.
We see that, excuse me, Mike, we see the 6-pin. It just sits in the channel, does not kick out. And I know what you're going to talk about. That's got to slide.
Oh.
Come on, Butch, you're supposed to be a great spare shooter. Hey, Don says no problem. Had it all the way.
The top-seeded player has lost 14 of 16 title matches because, as Butch mentioned in your interview, you got to sit around for an hour and 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's true. It's a double-edged sword. You know, double-edged sword. You want to be the tournament leader because you know you're in the title match. As Ricky goes for 7, and he's got it. Anything less than perfection for Butch Soper right now is not going to keep pace with Ricky Ward.
You're just barely losing a couple of
$25,000 for a 300 game.
What lose it? Get up there and make it aggressive shot.
And Ricky Ward in the 8th frame.
Oh, Ricky,
7 in a row.
Oh, Ricky, you're so fine. You throw a strike every time. Look at that light hit. A little bit of a break for Ricky Ward. And Butch Soper finding himself in a very, very big hole right now. We'll take one more look at take a look at the way the ball goes way out onto the lane and then hooks back into the pocket, shakes him down. Friendly strike for Ricky Ward. Ricky Ward right now with 8 in a row. Butch Soper trails by 53 pins. He strikes in the 7th frame. Still has a possible 247. If I've got that figured out correctly.
Soper will not go away.
But Butch Soper needs to strike in the 9th frame, and he's going to have some help from Ricky Ward if he expects to win this particular tournament. Ricky Ward working at a 260 pace if he spares in the 9th and 10th.
And he got it. Butch Soper with a double in the 8th and 9th. But Ricky Ward coming to the
If Ricky Ward strikes on this shot, he can relax and forget about winning the tournament. This strike is to win your tournament. He's the winner. Now, the only thing he can think about is 300. He's got the tournament wrapped up if he just keeps the ball on the lane. With an open, he shoots in the 260s. The best Butch Soper can do, as I said earlier, 247. And for a man who led the tournament for the last day and a half, Butch Soper is not going to win.
We had 4 300 games this week here at Leisure Lane.
Came in light last time. He came in light again and leaves the 7-pin. It won't be a 300 for Ricky Ward, but it will be title number 3.
So Ricky Ward, the 29-year-old from North Fort Myers, Florida, closes out Butch Soper. The spare in the 10th.
Well, right now, Ricky feels kind of bad about not shooting 300, but as Butch Soper congratulates him for having a great week. He wins the tournament. Believe me, that's more important than shooting 300. 279 for Ricky Ward.
And Ricky Ward is your winner of the Albuquerque Open. Ward finishing with a 279 as Butch Soper will close out his 10th frame on a great week in Albuquerque. Wow. But it's Ricky Ward today. as he wins his 3rd national tour title. And the 1991 Rookie of the Year on track in 1998. We're coming back.
25? Yeah. Last week was worth 25 extra.
For the Denver Broncos, it was a wild ride with a super finish.
They have won Super Bowl 32.
Sports Illustrated salutes the Denver Broncos with this exclusive super pack, the incredible new NFL Films video, the Denver Broncos Super Bowl 32 champions. Plus, this collector's dream, a special hardcover Sports Illustrated commemorative edition. Both great gifts are free with your paid subscription to Sports Illustrated. Week after week, game after game, nobody beats Sports Illustrated. Call this number now and take a fabulous ride through a sensational season and the thrilling playoffs. Then be there as John Elway and the Broncos get sweet revenge with an amazing Super Bowl victory.
Davis to the end zone. Touchdown, Denver!
You'll share the excitement with those who made it happen.
Oh, what a catch!
You'll be inside the huddle and learn their plans.
I think this is a touchdown. Really good.
Inside the 5 for the pylon. Touchdown!
It's the one and only Denver Broncos in this one-of-a-kind video, free from Sports Illustrated. Don't miss this exclusive super pack, including the Sports Illustrated Special Commemorative. Each collector's edition is hardbound, individually numbered, and features John Elway's replica signature. It's an exclusive SI collectible you'll treasure forever. From the Super Bowl, you'll never forget.
The world champions! Broncos have done it!
Both great collector's items are free with your order of 54 issues of Sports Illustrated, including the famous swimsuit issue, for only $1.48 an issue. Save over 57% off the cover price. For quicker delivery of your super pack, use your credit card.
45.50. Here we go again. 45.40. One to beat.
Call now to get the exclusive super pack, the Great Broncos video, and the special collector's edition with John Elway's replica signature, both free from Sports Illustrated. A sports experience like no other. Sports Illustrated. You can't beat it.
The first ever winner of the Albuquerque Open is Ricky Ward, who in our championship match beats Butch Soper 279 to 226. Now let's take a look at today's key moment, the Ginkoba moment of concentration.
And Mike, it comes in the semifinal match. This is the second shot in the 10th frame. With this shot here, he forces Doug Kent to strike twice in the 10th frame to go on to the finals. He gets the strike. Doug Kent does not. And we'll be right back to talk to the champion, Ricky Ward, right after this message.
Pay-per-view brings you face-to-face with excitement.
Isn't this fun?
Travolta.
I don't care if I live.
Cage.
You're not having any fun, are you, Sean?
The only way to catch this killer is to become him.
You get licking.
White-knuckle action.
What do you say we trade back?
An absolute blast.
Plan B. Let's just kill each other.
There's no resisting face-off. Exciting entertainment is easy to order on pay-per-view.
Lancaster Dodge has it all for you. The finest selection of Dodge cars and trucks, plus fantastic discounts and rebates up to $1,500. Buy or lease, there are many payment plans available. If you graduated from college in 1995 through 1997, you're eligible for an extra $400 rebate. So come into Lancaster Dodge and give us the opportunity to earn your business. You'll be glad you did.
Something special out of Lancaster Dodge, and it's more. It's more than a car.
Accept it. The college basketball game you want to see isn't on where you live, and there's nothing you can do about it. Or is there? Imagine a place where the games you want to see are on night after night. A place where you can choose from hundreds of college matchups. Just order ESPN Full Court, ESPN's pay-per-view college basketball package, and we'll bring you the big games and top conference rivalries, and all in your own backyard. ESPN Full Court. There's no place like home. To order, call your cable company or DirecTV at 1-800-GET-SPORTS.
The Pro Bowlers Tour on ESPN has been brought to you by Ginkoba. Sharpen your concentration with Ginkoba, the natural supplement. Think better. Think Ginkoba. And by Brunswick. Line up with the perfect lineup from Brunswick. Back at Leisure Lanes, where Ricky Ward wins the first ever Albuquerque Open, and he's standing by with Marshall Holman. Marshall.
All right, thank you very much. Ricky, you finally figured out what it takes to win. You got to strike almost every time. What were you thinking about after the strike in the 9th frame?
Just staying with the shot and trying to catch a handful. We have some great equipment, and I had a perfect lineup, and it didn't carry in the 10th, but that's all right. I'll take the title, and we'll go with that.
I'm sure you will take the title. And here for the presentation, Dick Tanner. Dick and Janet Tanner, the proprietors here at Beautiful Leisure Bowl. And Dick, a few words from you.
Thank you very much. Ricky, that was a great show. Great show. Everybody that bowled today bowled great. We're really tickled to have you here. Hope you're back next year. Got a big check here for you. A check for $16,000, along with a trophy that I didn't manage to drop.
All right, thank you very much, Dick. Congratulations again, Ricky, and back up to you, Mike.
All right, Marshall, thank you very much. Be sure to join us next Saturday for the Columbia 300 Open, live on ESPN at 2 p.m. Eastern. Coming up next on ESPN, the 1998 European Figure Skating Championships. From Marshall Holman, I'm Mike Bush saying so long from Albuquerque. We'll see you next week in Austin. This has been a presentation of ESPN.